this video, I'm going to show you how to get rid of this pole in the background here by taking this photograph and just flipping it over and taking the foliage from this side and moving it over to this side. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and say duplicate layer. And it comes in as background copy, and that's just fine. I'm going to say OK. With the background copy chosen, I'm going to go up to the image menu. I'm going to say rotate, and I'm going to say flip layer horizontal. With the photo flipped, I'm going to go over and lower my opacity down to about 50%. Grab my move tool and hold down my shift key and line this up so that the tree is lined up. The edges of the tree are lined up. I'm going to take my opacity back up. Perfect. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off my eyeball, go down to my background, grab my quick selection tool, and I'm going to make a selection of the tree. So I'm going to grab my quick selection, grab all of the tree area. I'm going to go down in here and get this area as well. And I'm going to get a little bit more of this in here. So you can see I went a little bit too far in this area. Use my Alt key just to bump this back. A little bit too far that way. So I'm just going to let go of my Alt key and bring that back. I'm going to take this down just a bit because I want to get rid of some of this right in here. Alright. It might not be perfect, but that's okay because we're going to have a mask. So I'm going to click back on my eyeball for my background. Go to my background copy. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to select the Add Layer Mask. Now my layer mask came in reversed. I actually want it to be all of this area to be black, this area to be black, and this area, this little small corner, to be white. So I'll just click on my mask and I'm going to do Control I, which is inverse. Alright, you see how this now is all in. I have my foliage over here and I have my background right here. It's a little harsh. Okay, these two areas don't blend very well. Alright, with this area now selected, I'm going to go over and get my brush tool. Grab my brush tool. And I need to take my opacity way down. So I'm going to go down to about, I don't know, somewhere in the 20s. About, there we go, 16%. It's perfect. And this area right here has been blacked out. I can see this right here in my mask. I have my mask selected. It's got a white frame around it. I can see that it's selected. So I have this white area right here, and I need to make this black area right here blend with this area. So I'm going to paint white. I'm going to take my opacity way down. I'm going to take my brush size way up by using the bracket tools. I want to make sure that my hardness is soft. So I'm going to take it somewhere, I don't know, 19%. Sounds good to me. I'm just going to start coming in here and painting over this, and I keep painting over this area and painting, so that I can just blend this in. As you can see, blends in a little bit better. Alright, one of the things that I'm going to do is I'm going to zoom in so that you can see this area right here. And I'll use my space bar, move over, and you can see that looks a lot better. It's not cloned in there. It's just kind of faded in there. I'm going to move up a little bit here. I can see right in this area right here that I have some problems. I didn't do a real good job on my mask. So I'm going to click on my mask. I need to make sure that this is painted black right here. So I'm going to change my brush my color to black. Make sure I have my brush tool. I need to take my hardness up though. I'm going to take it up. That's good enough. Now my brush size is way too large, so I'm going to go with my bracket keys, my left bracket key, and I'm going to take that down. Might go down a little bit smaller. Come in here. Oops, I want to take my opacity all the way up to 100%. Oops, going the wrong direction. I need it to be white, so I'm just going to reverse it by clicking the X, so I have white. And come in here and paint this, and I'm going to get rid of this to bring back my foliage. And I'm not just kind of guessing. Hold down my space bar. I think that this needs to go right here as well. Go up the tree. I think this needs to go right in here. I think I might need more of the tree back, so I'm going to reverse and see. Oh, yep, some of the tree was missing right in here. Now this right here needs to go, so I'm going to do X. Oops, X, which reverses. I'm going to paint in here. And my brush is pretty. It is pretty stiff, you know, for the edge, but it's working fairly well on this. All right. Now this right here, I'm going to just see what's up with this. All right. This little white indentation, I don't particularly like this. So what I'm going to have to do is going to have to take off my chain right here on my background layer, remove this chain, go to my move tool, and I'm just going to use my arrow keys, and I'm going to bump this over, and I'm going to keep going over. Oops. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to make sure that I'm on my picture. I was moving my mask, and that's not what I wanted to do. So I have my picture highlighted. I have my move tool. Take my arrow key and just bump that over. Keep going. So I'm using my arrow keys. I'm using my right arrow key, and I'm moving it over to the right. And you see, now I got that foliage in there, and I'm using my mouse. It's zooming it out. That's not what I want to do, but I want to show you. So I just move that over. I think it looks better. I'm going to double click on the hand tool so that you can see. That looks much better. Come back here, go between the image and the mask and click. And there we go. Now the mask and the image are linked back together. All right. Next thing that I want to do is, I think it needs to just pop a little bit. I think it's kind of a little bit dull. So I'm going to come down to my adjustment layer, click on that. I'm going to go to levels. This is a pretty good histogram in here actually. So I'm just going to move this histogram to the right. And you know, I don't always remember which way to go. Left, right. So I'm going to go to the right. And I'm going to just take it down, I don't know, somewhere around 92. It looks good on my monitor. Alright, I'm going to collapse that by double clicking on the adjustment layer. Undo history, there we go, collapse that all the way down. So all you can see are my layers. I want to put some sharpening on this, and foliage is great with high pass. So to be able to do that, I'm going to hold down my Alt, Control, Shift, and letter E. That's stamp visible. I'm going to rename this high pass, this layer. I'm going to go up to my filter. I'm going to go over to other. I'm going to go to high pass. And notice it brings it in, and foliage is great for this. It's got tons of edges. I want to keep my radius at 10. I'm going to say OK. But I have to remember, this is a gray, 50% gray. And remember, all of the blending modes that have to do with gray are under overlay. So I'll start with overlay. I think it's a little bit too much. I'm going to go to soft light. Just kind of dulls it just a little bit, gives me back some of that contrast. If I think that I've over sharpened it, I would just take my opacity back just a bit, you know, to your liking. And this is how you would take something out without making it look so obvious that you flipped this over. I mean, nobody's going to know that you flipped this graphic and you brought this information in here.